Hi everybody. I want to talk in this video about the Standard of Care Act. So I recently did an online convention and I spoke on PMU safety or safety in the PMU industry. And I was stunned to find out how many artists did not know about the Standard of Care Act. Now, it's prevalent in the United States and it's prevalent across all sorts of industries. I don't know around the world if there's something that's equivalent to what we have. I would assume there would be. So let me read this to you, okay? Again, this is called the Standard of Care Act. So the standard of care: the watchfulness, attention, caution, and prudence that a reasonable person in the circumstances would exercise. If a person's actions do not meet this standard of care, then his or her acts fail to meet the duty of care which all people supposedly have towards others. So this was so prevalent, you guys, when I was in medicine. So, say I took an x-ray of someone and it was a female and I didn't cover her female organs and I unnecessarily exposed her to radiation, which could damage the female organs and, ultimately lead to her not having children. And in x-ray, it might not have happened in a single occurrence, but certainly when I was in radiation therapy, if those areas on that client were not protected, I absolutely could have given her enough radiation to make her infertile, and she would have never been able to have children. So would I have gotten sued? Would my company have gotten sued? Would the medical system have gotten sued? Absolutely, they would have. And we would have lost that suit because standard of care in the industry would have been for me to put a lead shield on her and cover those organs so that she could continue to go on and live her life and have the ability to have children. So how does that translate to our world, okay, as a tattoo artist? So here's some examples. I've had some students contact me lately. I've had some, not my students, but students in general, who are fighting lawsuits. I've had artists contact me lately who are fighting lawsuits. So I want you guys to think about our industry and think about lawsuits. The bigger it gets, the more exposure we have, the more at risk we are. And I'm telling you, once somebody loses a big lawsuit, if we tattoo, I don't know, some popular TV star and we screw up and they sue that tattoo artist, everybody's going to start to sue. Okay. So as we again get bigger and gain more exposure, we're at more risk. So again, how does this relate to our industry? Let's say, so some of the things I talked about in this presentation were you use a numbing agent containing benzocaine near the eye. That client suffers severe injury from that benzocaine and sues you. You would lose. Benzocaine is not supposed to be used near the eyes, ever, ever, ever. And there are numbing agents which are specifically designed for the eyes. So under the Standard of Care Act, did you act prudently? Did you do what every other artist in your industry would do? And the answer would be no, because a responsible, prudent artist would use a numbing on the eyes that is made for and designed for the eyes. Not only that, but your insurance may not pay out either, because if you're found at fault for the Standard of Care Act, then your insurance company may say, look at the fine print, I don't have to cover you. You did something you were not supposed to do. Another example in my presentation is I got a call from a student. She thought she could tattoo a friend and she thought she could do it at her home without insurance. Well, that's not good, you guys. First of all, standard of care in our industry, you would always tattoo in a regulated facility that's been approved and safe, and you always have insurance. The minute you touch anybody, it doesn't matter whether you're a student, whether you're an artist, when you're actually at a school or an academy, you're covered under their insurance. But the minute you walk out that door, this is a business and you better have insurance before you touch the next person. So again, again, the Standard of Care Act kicked in. Was she found guilty? Absolutely she was. Because the Standard of Care Act, a prudent or responsible person would have tattooed in an approved facility and they would have had insurance. Whether they were a student or an artist, it doesn't matter. She did something that the others would not have done. She did something that's not standard in our industry. So those are just a couple examples, you guys, and it can go as far as cartridges with membranes. If you don't use cartridges with membranes, or you don't use machines that have backflow protection, and you contaminate your machine, and you give someone HIV, and they figure out and trace it back to your facility, and you get sued, how did you act underneath the Standard of Care Act? Did you do what was prudent and responsible? And absolutely you didn't, because in our industry, there's plenty of great cartridges that have membranes, and there's plenty of great machines that have backflow protection. So had you have used those two things, you would have been fine. But cartridges without membranes, cheap machines that don't prevent backflow, you give somebody HIV, you are going to be found guilty underneath the Standard of Care Act. So every artist should know about this, and it's something that's real. It's the same thing in auto mechanics. It's if you take your car into the shop and they replace your brakes and they don't replace them with brake parts that they should use, but they grabbed something off of some other old used car and those fail and you die or kill somebody, they did not act appropriately or prudently, because you came in there to get a new set of brakes on your car, Chevy, Toyota, whatever kind of car you have, and they sold you new brakes under false pretense, and they put in brakes that they grabbed off of a piece of junk sitting in the back. They're going to be found guilty. So it applies in the United States across all industries. And I think as artists in the tattoo world, thankfully you may not know about it because no artist you know has ever been sued. But please, you guys, you must know about it. You must understand it. And I pray to God that anybody listening to this is not the first artist to get sued. So you have to do what's reasonable. You have to do what's prudent. And you have to do what the other people in your industry are doing. So please, 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 you guys, be safe. Be safe out there, okay? And look up the Standard of Care Act. Bye.